Hello, my name is Thane and I like to experiment with AI art. Let's continue with the exploration of some more emotions. Here is another 10 emotions that I tested out with Midjourney version 5.0 on various subjects and mostly liked. So for this video I have prompted each emotion word on their own and then also with several additional words to give a wide variety of subject matter. The exact prompt I used can be seen along with each image grid. I did use my usual seed 777 for generating these images, but Midjourney seems to be changing up so frequently recently I am not sure you will be able to generate the exact images. But I hope you can at least get a feel of how each emotion word will react to different kinds of subjects. And let's just begin. It's difficult to make decisions when you're not sure what you really want. Ambivalence. There is some weird stuff going on in here, some purple coloring and plumes. And the closest thing that Midjourney seems to connect this to is amplifiers. Landscape images also have the purple tones. Macro is for some reason doing some charts, also with purple and yellow. Cities are looking really nice. Some purple there too, but not in all of the images. As I really like purple myself, I like the colors of these interiors. Architecture has done some flowcharts, I wonder what is causing those. They do seem to be purple too. And I am ambivalent about these portraits. Fantasy has really nice images, the pluminess appears in a few of the images. And sci-fi has purple and yellow tones along with some people in spacesuits. One of them seems to have a helmet on backwards. Overall I thought Ambivalence had some nice images, but Midjourney didn't really portray the feeling itself. The thrill of what's to come can be just as exciting as the event itself. Anticipation. Now these people are really anticipating something. I wonder what is it with the balloons? I guess the landscapes could be anticipating a sunrise or sunset or a storm. The lions do seem to be anticipating something. And I just can't read the facial expressions of frogs and bugs. I guess this emotion is really difficult to translate into architecture and urban environments. Yes, there is some nice architecture, some not so special interiors, but let's move on. The portraits look a little bit bored instead of eagerly waiting something. Some nice fantasy castles and over-the-top contrasted moons in fantasy. And in sci-fi the people do seem to be anticipating something. When life is good, it's important to enjoy every moment of it. Euphoria. So some concerts, a lady with weird arms and a few guys that don't really look euphoric to me. Landscapes do look really beautiful, nice colorful skies and lots of flowers. For some reason Euphoria means butterflies for wildlife. I like the city images, some futuristic stuff there. Too bad some of the images are looking like movie posters or book covers. Very colorful car interiors, but that's about it. And I don't know what's euphoric about this architecture. Some more color in the portraits, but the people themselves are looking quite serious. Some more butterflies in fantasy images. And movie posters with serious-looking people in sci-fi. I guess the feeling got lost on the way from just the word itself. The rush of adrenaline can make you feel alive in ways you never thought possible. Exhilaration. I do think the emotion comes through with this. And apparently exhilaration means water sports, skydiving and various balloons. Some balloons in landscapes as well and really pretty skies. The zebras also look quite exhilarated with the splashing water coming up there as well. The feeling does not really translate into architecture, but it looks like at least the splash of colors and the hot air balloons seem to be popping up with these subjects as well. Portraits do convey the feeling. I like the horses and the colorful fantasy painting in the lower right with the balloons there, but sci-fi is not really making sense to me. It's natural to feel afraid, but sometimes the best way to overcome it is to face it head-on. Fear. So this looks kind of split in my opinion. There are some faces expressing fear, but also some faces that could possibly be causing the fear by being a bit more aggressive. It looks like the landscapes are looking like this out of fear that the nature will end up like that someday. The lions of wildlife are probably causing the fear. And surprisingly, the macro is doing close-ups of fearful faces. Some movie posters or book covers in the city images. The architecture images are looking fabulous. Not sure that the emotion comes through here, but the look is very awesome. For some reason the emotion is again diluted with the last set of images. Fantasy does have some scary-looking fantastical monsters, but I don't like it that the images look like book covers again with lots of text. Jump scares may be fun in horror movies, but in real life, they can be quite terrifying. Fright. And I do get a strong horror movie vibe from these images. I really like these, such scary faces with weird makeup. So I guess there are heavy Halloween influences, at least for landscape images, which look great by the way. And macro seems to be doing some Halloween decoration close-ups with some disgusting teeth there. Wildlife is just looking weird. The top city images are really cool with the monsters there, less of the city is showing up in them. The lower ones look like book covers and are kind of disturbing actually. Interiors are looking kind of nice, would not upscale though. Architecture is really fantastic, some photographic realism and also some whimsical drawings of what looks like haunted houses. Although there's some unwanted text showing up here and there, these images are looking fabulously frightening. Fantasy has some really detailed monsters. And sci-fi also has some very cool and frightening skeleton robots and spacemen. Taking a moment to appreciate what you have can make all the difference in your outlook on life. Gratitude. Some more positive emotions going on here, not necessarily some very fantastic art, but definitely emotional. It doesn't really translate into landscapes, I guess. But the wildlife there looks quite grateful. One of the squirrels seems to have grown some wings. And I guess macro is kind of referencing Thanksgiving and autumn. The city images seem to be going more towards the emotion and less of the city. And finally we see something else than car interiors. I wonder what is it about this word that did that. And for architecture we seem to get some church interiors and some other nice looking buildings. It does seem that the emotion is coming through for at least the portraits and sci-fi. Fantasy images are looking really pretty here. True happiness often comes from within and is not dependent on external factors. Happiness. Happiness seems to mean happy people, smileys, balloons, colors, and yellow for Midjourney. And the theme of yellow and smileys seems to be continuing in these images as well. Really different looking macros here. The emotion is kind of meshed in with these images, the yellow and flower at least looks like a recurring theme. I really like the top two city images, but all the rest not so much. The emotion really shows in these images. All of them look great, even the sci-fi images are different from usual. Two of the fantasy images do have some text in them despite my attempts to not get text on images. Sometimes being away from home can make you appreciate it even more. Homesick. This is a little bit difficult emotion to picture, as it is kind of an internalized emotion. It tends to add some text to the images and a brown tint. But we do get some literal interpretation with landscapes having homes in them. And the wildlife seems to also be situated in or near homes. Very cool miniature globes appearing with macro images. I definitely don't like the city images. Interiors and architecture seem to be interpreting this very literally. I mean, these homes look sick, as in a bit run down or not in the best shape. Portraits look like they always do, the people maybe have little bit of a longing expression on them. I really like the style that has come out with fantasy. Not sure about the emotion though, but really awesome graphics. Sci-fi is doing some movie posters or book covers again. The spacesuited people could be kind of wanting to go back home. Laughter may be contagious, but so is hysteria, and it's not always a good thing. Hysteria. Could Hysteria be a name of a band or something? Lots of concert and band images are appearing here, it seems. And a lot of open mouths. The open mouth theme seems to be continuing with wildlife and macro as well. That one deer in the lower left looks like a vampire with those teeth. And landscapes bring into mind expressionism, but I'm not really good at recognizing art styles, I might be wrong. Cities are kind of all over the place too, some of the emotion seems to be showing up with very maniacal expressions on the people's faces. I guess it's hard to put hysteria in the context of an interior. Or architecture as well. But the architecture actually looks quite nice. Portraits seem to be picturing historical people based on the clothes. In the times when those kind of clothes were in fashion, I guess the word hysteria was often said about women. For fantasy, I get the feeling of some posters of magicians or magic shows. Sci-fi seems to be doing some movie posters with a really distinct look. Looking back on this set of emotion words, I guess fright and happiness stood out for me the most. At least based on what I personally liked and upscaled. The rest did have a few nice images, but Midjourney did struggle a lot with these words and came to some strange conclusions and connections about things. So if you personally don't get any cool art out of these, I'm sorry. But I hope you at least learned how Midjourney version 5.0 interprets those words and how well. I do believe that Midjourney 5.1 has a similar recognition pattern. But it is just better at hiding that it doesn't know actually how to portray some of these emotions. And as always, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I always appreciate all comments and likes too, so thank you for all the support. And let's continue prompting.